Yeah. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the official Trade Talk channel, where I show you how I analyze price for the most consistent and higher probable entries. So, getting started here about 5 minutes before the market open. We got FOMC tomorrow, then NFP on Friday. Two big, massive data points. So we're not expecting a whole lot of volatility this week until we get that. There is 84.3% chance that we are going to get a 25 basis point rate hike. Pretty sure that's being priced into the market right now as we speak. Bitcoin has essentially retraced pretty much most of that nasty downside move that we seen the other day. and you are pretty close to a weekly support. For today's price action and analysis, for the daily range, you are setting at yesterday's close, which just also happens to be today's open. And you can see here that white line there is the daily open. It is also, support. Whenever you have a downside bearish close, we consider that to be support. Right now, on today, you are a doji. That just means you got a wick high and a wick low on the day. That's going to be your daily open candle. So this is going to be low of day. That's going to be high of day. Currently testing the open. So I'm assuming that we're probably going to see a bounce pretty soon. Maybe today. Back up to monthly support. Monthly support is a big level. Let's go over here and show you what we're talking about. So it's not really, monthly supply. It's just where last month's candle opened. So I'm expecting at least a pullback to there. Tomorrow, when we actually get the news, the Fed, once they do the press conference, we will stream that live. So that way we can watch what price does together and potentially take a trade. This morning, I currently have a open long setting at 28044 on the Bitget platform, because 28044 is your daily opening price. I am currently watching Coinbase's data feed, because Coinbase and Bitget are pretty close. You can see here how on Coinbase you are currently trading under the daily open. On Bitget you have not yet got there. So we'll see if we get there. We almost got there 15 minutes ago, but it didn't quite push down. That would have been on this candle here. It does look like it's going to push down lower now. What I probably should do is close out that position. Well, never mind, it just got triggered. So I just got filled on a long entry here. But on the Bitget chart, it's right at this white line, which is the daily open. And my current stop loss is setting under right in here. So it looks like I may get stopped out on that trade. I typically, since we're 1 minute out, I probably should have waited, because I wouldn't be surprised if we get an initial push down on the open and then see the pop. But there's nothing that says that we have to get a pop either, right? Bitcoin can clearly continue to go lower. Next area of support would be weekly support. That is this level right here. The current price of weekly support, 27,592. That's this point right there. You can see on the current weekly wick, we have not gotten down there. Today is just Tuesday. And as you can see, you have almost retraced all of last week's move. All of it. In just a couple days. So that is a pretty significant move to the downside. Obviously, it looks like there's a lot of supply setting at and around $30,000. So we are seeing a bit of difficulty getting above there. But, good things are happening for Bitcoin. Considering the fact that we haven't pulled back that massively since the yearly open, is a pretty good sign. And we've been trading in this range now for several weeks. Once you got here, you would count this week. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So for 8 weeks, we've been trading from say 26,590 to $31,000. That's a pretty good size range. I mean, you're looking at a $5,000 range. There's plenty of opportunity inside of that. I did short the other day. Let me go to the daily time frame. I did short this wick up in here. I just closed that trade down, Now I'm looking for a potential bounce back to the upside, based solely on the fact that you got weekly support down here. You didn't tag it though, so I might be early looking for the long entry. And like I said, 1 day away from FOMC, which is a big data point, and data has been driving the current marketplace. That is why it is literally not going anywhere. You can pull up the S&P 500 and see that you're range bound. This is your yearly open, yearly low right here, yearly high. Boom. So you did not make a fresh yearly high. Last week closed really strong, and then yesterday and today you're pulling back. So this could indicate that the market is looking for a sell the rumor, buy the news, but we'll have to see, right? We'll have to see. We do know that there are more shorts stacked up on the S&P futures, on the E-mini futures, more shorts than, well, it's pretty close to being equal. This is according to the Commitment of Traders data as back in 2008. So there is a ton of people that are shorting the market. So if we do get a breakout, I am expecting a pretty big move from that. But what we have been expecting all year is a sideways market. And that's pretty much what we've been seeing since the open of this fresh new year. Sideways trading. We had a nice rally in the first quarter that was based off of literally like 10 stocks. That caused the rally, and that would be tech as well. We pull up the tech sector, you can see boom, boom, boom. I mean, that does not look like the S&P 500 at all. You opened on the year, immediately within 4 days, set the yearly low, and boom, straight up. Had a nice pullback, and boom, straight up again. And you've basically been trading sideways, and you are at an area of, this is probably the target. So once you get above this, if you can see continuation happening, then a breakout is likely. But we could also see a wick above and then a rejection, just being a liquidity run. So we'll see what happens with that. But we do know that Bitcoin basically followed the tech sector, the tech rally. We can pull up Bitcoin again and basically, let's see here. Where is it? There it is. Let's just go ahead and take off the lines real quick. And let's pull up the NASDAQ. So, I mean, basically, if we go to year to date, you can see that this is pretty much the closest chart resemblance or correlation that we have with any other markets right there, right? NASDAQ is full of tech. So if tech does good, the NASDAQ does good. And you can clearly see last week you got that push higher, that breakout of the range. And last 2 days traded sideways. Bitcoin, on the other hand, dropped. It did not get the breakout move yet. So either Bitcoin is lagging or the NASDAQ is lying. What does that mean? It's simple. If these two assets are correlated, which they pretty much have been, right? One of them is lying because Bitcoin's breaking down and the NASDAQ's showing a breakout. So if Bitcoin is the leader, then that means you can look for a pullback in the NASDAQ. If Bitcoin is the lagger, then that means it's lagging this pullback and you can look for a breakout, a potential breakout soon. Bitcoin is structured bullish. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are not, welcome back. The way we analyze trend on this channel is the real way that the market participants or your bigger people analyze trend. It's basically you have a fresh new year. So the only thing that matters is January 1 to now. Anything that happened in 2022 is irrelevant. All the traders have already paid taxes on all those trades taken. So none of that chart matters. If you look at this chart like that, then this looks to be just a bear market pop. But obviously, if you look at it from the yearly opening price range, you can clearly see that the trend is up. Trending indicators such as moving averages also show you that the trend is up. On the weekly time frame, you are above the 4 major moving averages. Bitcoin just stopped me out, had a big drop to the downside. Let's pull that up real quick, as the market has been open for 7 minutes as I've been rambling. Pretty decent size drop here. Let's go pin the daily low and see if we get down below that. We got a ways to go before we get down there. Let's go here, but I want to see the upside. So VIX is currently up on the day 4.92%, but that is normal. I mean, this thing is down at levels we haven't seen since 2021, October 21, right? It's just been going straight down. So bounce is inevitable at some point. And like I said, you got big news coming up tomorrow, so it is a 100% normal thing to see people taking profits in front of a massive news event, right? A massive data point. It is normal to see people taking profits ahead of that, because if the market has not priced in that move and does not like or takes it as bad news, obviously you don't want to lose any of the gains that you made last week, because like I said, this is last week's close. That's a big strong closure on the weekly. So right now this is what you got, like literally just a small pullback in relation to the size of this candle. So like I said, typically we look for the low or high of the week to be put in around Tuesday or Wednesday. Since we have a massive news event tomorrow, more than likely we will know tomorrow whether or not the low or high is in for the week. And I'm shooting for the low, but you never know. The high could be in for the week. And if that's the case, then Bitcoin could lose weekly support. And that's a big level we do not want to see it lose, especially on a closing basis. Because if we do get a weekly closure below 27,592, then the next bearish target will be 26,965, which is April's low. All right. So Bitcoin just pushing down here to the bottom end of the range. Let's go into the hourly here. See, where do we got supports? The range is not really, there we go. There we have a beautiful range. This is the operating range. So until you get a 2-hour closure, which we're going to get in 20 minutes, under 27947, then you can look for potential buying opportunities down here. I should have already had this pulled up. Should have been looking at this instead of the daily open. I just really thought it was going to bounce at the daily open, because if I pull this up right here, remember this is the daily open. You can see that the point of control was setting right under the daily open. Now that if price gets under the point of control and stays pushing under, then more than likely you're going to see an expansion lower. Definitely probably get a fresh daily low. And then we will not be looking for a buying opportunity again until we get to 27,592. But if this price level holds on a 2-hour closing basis, you can look for long opportunities here. You just have to manage your risk. Where would you manage your risk if you were to take a long entry here? Low of day. It's not a very big range. So it's not a very big trade, right? We were trading range bound since, damn it, I messed that up. I'll have to fix it later. You can see when we got that nasty day, that big up move, and then followed immediately by a massive down move. We traded as an inside day the next day, and then inside of that day, inside of that day. So I put out a tweet telling people, usually when you get 3 days in a row that trades inside one another like that, that a breakout is coming, either to the upside or to the downside, and look for the fake out move first, is what I said in the tweet. Obviously, there it is. You liquidated this day's high, and that day's high, all in one push, and then you dropped, right? That was the breakout. That's what I was talking about right here. Breakout is coming soon. Which way is unknown. Obviously, it's unknown. Even though that we trade, even we don't know what's going to happen with price. We are literally just risk managers. That is all we do. We look for high probable areas to look for those entries. But anyways, I could see a fake out to the wrong side happening first. So patience is advisable in this scenario. Inside this day was inside of that day, so on and so forth. And then we did get that move to the upside, liquidating 3 days worth of price action and straight down. And we've been getting downside continuation ever since. So in this scenario, typically when we get under the 21 on a daily closing basis, we do look for short setups. So this would have been a legitimate short entry. Absolutely. But it didn't really give a flawless entry setup. What you could have done was taken the short after the high of day was pushed through upon returning back to it. So if this would have been the high of day, what I mean by that, you could have waited for price to get back under this area, then hit your short, then throw your stop above that, because it is the high of day. So you are getting towards the outside of the range. And those are the areas where trades typically happen. All right. You just liquidated anybody that got short during the New York session, this takes them out. And since the open is here, the London session liquidated the Asian session. So the next area for liquidation obviously would be the daily low. But if support holds, we will look for price to trade back up to monthly supply. We do have a little bit of news on the transactions. This is 2017, your all-time high. You can see that you have a transaction count of 490,000 there, and that was during the 2017 bull market. That was the very top of the bull market. Transaction count 490. If you go to currently, you can see here we got a 682,000. That is an all-time high on transactions. All right. So I don't know. I mean, this is due to some NFP stuff. And another thing, I can't remember the name of it, but it starts with an O. I just briefly glanced over the article. So it's not necessarily going to have an effect on price, but it is good news. Right? It is good news. All-time high transactions. So Bitcoin is still being very much utilized. But we are seeing mass adoption flee out of fears of basically the United States of America not being transparent on its regulations. You're seeing most of the U.S., Coinbase is looking to go offshore now, which is not good for U.S. investors. It just isn't, right? And then if we look at addresses with 10,000 Bitcoins or more, you can see once we got this top tick right here, this lower high, I might add, you had a drop. Now we're seeing price drop. But on the good news, your addresses with 1,000 Bitcoin or more, the last time I looked at it, got an uptick, but now it's getting a downtick. right? So your big wallets are basically not really helping prop the market. Yeah. Addresses with 100. Let's go back 4 months, or let's go back a year. You can see this trade. This is the same trade I took, by the way. They just got long right in here at the lows, and then basically started taking profits as Bitcoin makes its move higher, and then boom. So like your top 3 whale wallets or whatever, you're seeing a drop in those addresses. So I don't know if that's consistent with people selling or with just going into cold storage. That is just an indicator. It doesn't tell us much. And I'm not a Glassnode analyst. I am a price analyst. I analyze price. And currently, it doesn't look bad to me. It looks bad to some people. Some people are calling for a retest of the 2023 open off of a monthly candle that looks like that. You just opened. Today is the second day of the month. This could literally be the first move of the candle. It could be setting in the low of the month as we speak, right? This month could end up closing up here. You never know. It could also end up closing down here, right? We don't know. It's early in the month, but these are my favorite times to look for trades because occasionally you can nail those monthly and weekly lows or highs. Obviously, you're not going to nail the monthly trade short high. I did, but I've closed that position. It was just a small trade. I'm not looking for massive downside continuation. I'm looking for just a pullback into the news event, essentially. Then we'll see what happens tomorrow and on Friday. Then next week will be fun, right? We'll have more data and we can make sensible decisions. Do we want to look for more downside trades or do we want to continue to look for upside trades? But my strategy on the weekly, as long as you're above the 21, your long-term trend is up. Let me show you here real quick. You can see that the weekly 21 is way down here, so a pullback to it is okay. You're still bullish. As long as you're above this, you are bullish. You can go back and look in history. Typically, this is a trending indicator. So in a sideways market, it is useless, right? It is useless in a sideways choppy market. It is a trending indicator. So it only works when you're in a trending condition. Right here is when you lost the 21. Basically, you never could reclaim it. You did reclaim it here for the fresh 2022 high, but we shorted this. We knew that this was going to be a fake out move long in advance before the move ever took place. We called it out weeks before it happened. We were looking for it to happen just this way. Shorted up there, shorted right there, boom, boom. So we pretty much nailed it. But you can see how when it is in a trending condition, this indicator does really good to show you the trend, the direction of the trend. Now that you are this far away from price, a pullback to the mean is possible. So as long as you're closing weeklies above this, then you're technically bullish, but you could get a pullback all the way to there. So me being a closer near time day trader, anytime we close dailies under the daily 21, then we can start looking for shorts because that puts your momentum back under the 50 on the RSI, which is also a trending indicator. So as long as you're going to be trending, then you can look for this to be like the beginning of a near-term down move. But you got to get a spike in price. You got to get a push up to a resistance level before you can look to take a short. You definitely do not want to short an oversold condition, which you got right here. All right. This is the hourly, but still, that's a big move. It's a pretty big move. So when we get in those conditions, you look for the bounce and then you look to sell the bounce. And one more asset I want to talk about, because basically everything is just trading sideways to down this week so far. Everything and everybody in the world is waiting for tomorrow. So, not much movement going on other than that. But NZD CAD was an asset that I was looking for shorts on this week in the members only live stream that we did on Sunday. I looked at all the currency pairs, and basically the only one that I liked for potential entries was the NZD CAD, and I liked it for a short. Yesterday, that trade worked out flawlessly. You can see right here at 9 o'clock, you had a spike up. This was to run stops. Basically got short right up in there, and then took profits on this move lower here. Moved my stop to break even, and then we had rate decision by the Australian bank, and it made the Aussie dollar very strong, and for some reason, New Zealand dollar is following it. So you're getting this big, strong pop based off of the RBA rate decision, right? We're getting a rate decision for New Zealand tonight. So this move could ultimately still be a short. The reason I like it for a short is this, was because it was trading under the 21. And we had already made that push up, and we were testing an area of resistance right here. But you can see today, clearly this looks like a breakout, and it looks like a legit breakout. So now we have to wait to see if we get, if this is going to be a bull trap or not, right? Bull traps do happen occasionally before you get the actual move to the downside. And then again, if you look at this thing on a longer term basis, this looks like a bull flag on a weekly. But I don't trade patterns, right? I don't. I trade trends. I like to trade trends. So even though this looks like a bull flag, it means nothing to me, because right here was a bull flag too. And what happened when you got a retest of the 21? You freaking dropped, dude, and then you trended lower. So your bull flag turned out to be nothing. The same thing can happen here, right? And then again, it could chop back and forth, boom, 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 all year long. Because a lot of these assets have been trending for a couple years, right? A couple years. You've had nice trend to the upside. And then in November 2021, you had a solid trend to the downside. Like, you can't get any easier than that. When monetary policy, when they come right out and tell you what's about to happen, you position yourself for that, and then boom, boom, all's good. So we'll see tomorrow. By Wednesday, let's say Thursday, we'll know if this is a fake out or not. I still like it lower based on, depending on where this week closes. Obviously, if the weekly closes above the 21, then we'll back off and we'll wait. I'm not looking to short it right now, even though it is up 1% on the day. Typically, that's a good time to look for short entries. But that line is there for no reason. Okay, it's the monthly, it's old monthly support. Old monthly support. And that's another reason why I like it, right? Look at last month. You had a breakdown below support. So this is just a pullback in my opinion. If you close a monthly above this close, then obviously it changes. We will look for a pullback and then we'll look to get long. So right now the move is setting up, and it could take a couple days to set up, but it's clearly bearish, trading under most of the year's opens. I mean, longer term. So looking for bearish entries on a bearish asset, typically what you want to do. But we have to wait on that asset to get to a resistance before we can short it. Can't just blindly short it. Like right now, there's no way I would take a short on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a little bit extended to the downside. Not on the daily. On the daily, you're just now breaking under the 50. So, potential retest back of the 50 or a resistance. Then you could look for a short. Nice resistance here. The monthly supply, 28,475. So if you're looking for Bitcoin shorts, wait for that. If you trade sideways here today, like you just stay in a very tight range like you're currently in, you can see how small today's candle is in relationship to yesterday's candle. That is a very tight, narrow price range. If you stay in this very, very tight, narrow price range today, then tomorrow you could look for a run above this day's higher low, and then look for the move to continue. You don't have to go all the way up to monthly supply in order to look for shorts, but we will wait and see how today shapes up. I already got stopped out on the trade, so I'm not going to look for a fresh entry on it, right? That's my rule. If I take an entry, no matter if it was good or bad, right? If I lose, I'm done. If I make money, I'm done. I'm just looking for a couple nice trades a week, because all you need to do in order to make this a successful venture is to make positive percentage gains week after week after week. And you can do that simply by aiming for a small 2 to 3% gain per week. If you can do that in 1 or 2 days, you don't have to trade for the rest of the week. You will be consistently profitable. Over time, your account will build up and build up and build up. Who you calling a feut? All of you are feuts, legends, future legends. That's right. Everybody that's in here, you are future legends. Ignore that phone call. What is up? Good morning. What's up, man? How's your brother doing? He's doing fine. Thank you for asking. He's Johan. Yeah, my brother, I had to cut the stream short last week because my brother had a little accident. But he's good. He's good. He's out of surgery. He's good. Walking around, everything's fine. It wasn't life-threatening. It's just anytime you go into surgery, I get concerned. I had to take him to the hospital, obviously. That's why I had to end the stream. But he's doing good. Doing good. Great to be here. When you have a second, could you please check Azero USDT? Thanks for the help. I don't know what that is. I've never traded it, but I will absolutely look at it for you. Azero USDT. I'm going to just assume KuCoin because that's the first exchange that popped up. Looks like a new asset. It's clearly trending to the upside. On a longer term, right? On a longer term basis, there's your yearly open. You're testing it. No, it's not. Sorry. Down here is your yearly open. My bad. Wait a minute. Let's get the real level. Because the monthly open doesn't necessarily mean yearly open. So you're not testing the yearly open. Last month you were bearish. This month you've opened up and you started to be bearish. It does look like it's trying to make a push down to 115. Maybe look for buying opportunities if you find support after you get under 114, one spot 146. As that could be the target, or if you get back above last month's low and you hold support there, which you could, right? This is a new asset, so you don't have much of a 21 exponential, but that's what you do have right there. So it looks like it is retesting for the trend to continue. If you get back above 1.26, you could look for, you could wait for daily bearish closes and then look for entries. But yeah, on the daily, it looks bearish. But on the weekly, it looks, it doesn't look bad as long as it can close back above 1.26. That's last month's low. You close back above that, then it looks like they were just targeting that. And it got a lower push because of momentum. That all happened in 1 day, 2 days. Boom, boom. Those 2 days there. So it was kind of a momentous move down into there. But current daily support is 1.26. Can't do anything until you get back above that or close below it. A close below it, then I would look for a retest of it. See if it rejects price. If it does, you can look for a test of 1.14. Or at least look for price to push below it. Bitcoin's testing the open of the day currently, and it looks like it's trying to fail. So could this be a short entry? It could. You could aim for the low of the day. But it's not very far away. It's a very small range trade. But the trade entry would have been there, obviously. It's a pretty big 5-minute candle. So you can see how price reacted once it got back above that. Or got back to the daily open. But this is the 2-hour support, so that's the range. That's the operating range. This is where the buyers are, that's where the sellers are. So I don't like taking trades when I'm in the middle of the range. I can either be a buyer down here or a seller up there. I can't be anything in the middle. All right? Because I know that there's a high probable chance for price to trade back up to 28,077. It's a 50-50 chance from here, whether it goes up there or down there. So not really a trade to take. We don't ever expect continuation. Now, if you're taking the entry and you're expecting, this to be tagged today, then you're not doing it right. You need to trade within the range the market provides. This is the range the market's providing, unfortunately, for today. But if you do get the continuation moves, that's when your trade turns out good. When I took this trade, taking profits on this move lower, it was based solely on support. But I left 70% of the position open, or 30% of the position open, let the rest run. And it ended up paying me more than the initial trade did in the first place. So that's what we look for, right? Try to get all of our risk off the table. The same long trade. LOL. Yeah, those are the levels, man. Like I said, the strategy's not perfect. It doesn't have a 100% hit rate. Had I looked at this first and got the operating range before just looking at where the daily open was, I would not have taken that entry. Right? Because there is no candle bodies trading above resistance. So that's getting long at resistance, essentially. Right? That's your daily open here. It also happens to be resistance. So can you see how the trade is flawed? How it was no, I should not have taken that trade. That is a mistake on my part, right? Just because I do this every single day and all this, I still make mistakes like anybody else. Had I looked for the operating range first, I never would have tried to get long at resistance. Just like you don't get short at support, you don't get long at resistance. Because there's a very high chance that it can fail. And it's exactly what happened. You did close above resistance here, but this candle makes this candle a trap because you took out the high and the low. So you have to go back to the original resistance. And the original resistance is the daily open. So if anything, the only trade setup that would have been here had I looked at this first would have been a short. Because price was trading at the resistance, I would have looked for a short entry. And this is where I would have taken profits. So you can see how this wick traded up to it. And then there. So that's the high probable trade. But I didn't look first. I just, where's the daily open there? Okay, I'm going to try to get long there because I think it's going to bounce. That's where I let my human emotions take over and I make mistakes. Why did I think it's going to bounce? Simply because it's oversold on the hourly, right? Like, always find the range first. That's like rookie mistake. You got to know where you are in the range. So that's just a mistake on my part. This would have been a high probable entry. Short, take profit there. And you can see that's worked out perfectly. And your risk would have been nothing, literally nothing. Because it instantly turned and went down. Boom, take profits, maybe stop to break even. That way, if you get a bullish bounce and it comes back up to here, guess what? You made money. Game over. You made money, and you can go play golf for the rest of the day. I don't play golf, so Bitcoin has to do a little pullback and continue to the downside. I wouldn't say it has to, but yeah, I mean it's been range bound and overbought for quite some time. The range boundness took away all of the bullish momentum, in my opinion. All of this right here, when we got the breakout, we should have seen continuation. Pullback continuation. If there was real demand above $30,000 in this asset, you can clearly see that it's not got that much demand above $30,000. So now price is just trading lower looking for demand. Obviously, there is more supply up here than demand. So once that dynamic shifts and we do get demand and then follow through demand, our next target would be 35K, looking for the gap to get filled. And if you're not familiar with the gap that I speak of, it's the gap on the CMEs right here. It's also monthly support, and it's a monthly support that has not been tested yet. It has not been retested yet. So that's my bullish target. That's as far of a bullish target as I have. I have nothing above that. Other people have gotten a $50,000 bullish target for reasons unknown. But to me, the logical, sensible thing is if we get a breakout above 30K, I would consider this to be my bullish target. That's as far as I would look for price to go. As once you fill that gap, then I would expect price to more than likely pull back, and continue sideways until we get close to the halving. Because as we know, if the 4-year cycle is going to continue, which it is still perfectly on track, nothing has changed, right? It's still like working to perfection. There's your chart. That's the 4-year cycle model. Everything is basically pretty much the same. After you get to the halving, that's when you get your bullish push. Not before, after. Here again, nice move to the upside off the yearly open. Boom. We got that sideways until the halving. Then after the halving, bullish market. Same scenario. Then you have your bear market. You trade sideways, hit the yearly opening range. Well, this year it just happened to stay bearish all year. So this was a short trade. But once you got to the halving, bullish rally. So I mean, Bitcoin has pretty much done the same thing its entire life. So I wouldn't be looking for fresh all-time highs to happen before March of 2024. I just would not. Simply because the statistics and probabilities are against you. For whatever reason, if you have a fresh yearly all-time high target or this year, then you're expecting Bitcoin to do something it has never done before. Ever. Once it's made bear market lows, it trades sideways until the next halving. And that, in my opinion, is your bear market low. We've seen the capitulation. If you don't see the capitulation on the daily, is because you're looking at the wrong time frame. If you look at the 2-day chart, you can clearly see the capitulation. The capitulation candle. Here. Right there. That's what a capitulation candle looks like. So we're pretty sure the low is in. But, I mean, this is a big range, right? And if you look on the yearly, it literally just tested the yearly supply. So, I mean, I'm not looking for all-time highs, guys. To be honest with you, this is as high as it needs to go. That's it. That's as high as it needs to go. You could have a pullback all the way back down to there. That's your range. That's your current range right there. Unfortunately. So you're at the top end of the range. So technically, we should be looking for shorts. But I think that gap gets filled. But it could just be because I'm naturally long Bitcoin. I have a hodl bag just like you guys, so I like it when Bitcoin goes up myself. But when I'm shorting Bitcoin, I'm doing it on an inverse swap contract, so essentially I'm making more Bitcoin. So instead of trading USDT futures or USDC futures, which I do trade both of those, my main account, my main portfolio, my main trades are taken in the US or the coin in perpetual future contract, the inverse swap. So I can use Bitcoin to get short, and if I'm right, I get paid in Bitcoin. That way I don't have to use any of my money to buy more Bitcoin. I just trade my way into owning more Bitcoin. Selling the 9 a.m. 5-minute candle on Bitcoin. I think we go down, test February monthly high. It's possible. Anything is possible. Wes is looking for this test here. Because Wes is a big believer in ICT's stuff, I think. Since this wick didn't come back and test it, that's considered an inefficiency. That's a long ways away, man. That's $3,000 away. We have a lot of stuff to worry about first before we can even look for that. Like, first of all, this has to be a target first. You can't target this first. You must target that first. And you got to get there. Right? There's nothing that says that this has to be filled until months later. Like 2025, you can fill that. Who knows? Who knows? Smash the like button. Wes says, thank you, Wes. How do you find out the monthly supply? It's the open of your bullish candles, my friend. So essentially, when you have an up close candle like this, see this candle, it closed green. So that means it closed up higher than it opened. That's why it's green. So if price instantly reverses and trades back under this open, then we know inside of this candle, the majority of this was sell side liquidity, not buy side liquidity. Why? Because price reversed. It's as simple as that. We know that there were more sellers in here. We don't know exactly where, but we know there were more sellers in this area than buyers because price rejected. So your monthly supply would simply be the open of that bullish candle. That is supply. You can do that on every time frame. Every time frame. Does it always work by taking a short at the monthly supply level instantly? As soon as price gets up there, hit the sell button. Does it work? No, not always. You have to make sure that that area is acting as that sellers are indeed there, right? You have to wait for your some kind of a reaction, some kind of a rejection, then you can look to sell it. But yeah, any time frame, that's supply. Demand is the exact opposite. For instance, this candle, the opening price of this last bearish candle would be demand, simply because we know there was more buying happening in this candle than selling. Why do we know that? Because what happened after? That's it. This month here, look at this. So there was more there was more buying going into this candle than selling. Prove it, Heath. Okay, I will. Here is your volume. Big spike of volume. Look at how small the candle is. Now, this volume isn't as big as this volume, but this candle is much bigger. Still pretty damn big size volume in this little itty bitty range. Price could not continue down lower because of buyers. So that's demand. So we just go up to the open, and any retest of that area, we look for longs. But you can see you clearly did not get a retest of that level. Not even on a daily basis. Once you broke out above it, you never came back for a retest of it. It was just boom, see ya. And then you were in a short squeeze. Massive short squeeze. Because people don't understand that as of January 1st, that starts a whole new year, a whole new trend. So people were looking at this as a bear market bounce. So they were shorting probably here. That's where they were getting short. Or here. That's where they were getting short. And look what happened after. Massive squeeze. Boom, boom. 3 big, strong, bullish candles. Day after day after day. Then you had a slight consolidation up here where you had the FTX sell-off. This was just a repricing, getting back to risk on. It was an easy trade. I told people I was getting long on January 1st. And I did get long on January 1st at daily support. 16,530. That's your yearly opening price. That's where I'm long. Well, I'm long from much lower than that. I mean, the overall hodl bags, because I've been trading Bitcoin for a couple years now. So obviously I've been, more and more Bitcoin. So, but for this year, my trade is I could quit trading for the rest of the year, and I had a phenomenal year because this was levered up. This position that I took had leverage. I can't tell you. I mean, it was like, I ultimately had closed that long now. That long is closed down because to me, this just looks like a topping formation. So I went ahead and closed the position, but it was over a 6,000% gain. Now, I didn't book 6,000% in profits. It just, that's where the initial entry with the initial leverage, had I held the position, the complete position for that long, that's what it would have amounted to. But nobody knows. I mean, you never know when it's going to stop or what's going to happen. So you have to take profits on the move higher. Bitcoin is now green on the day again. See, sideways, choppy stuff. This stuff will chop retail up. You got to be careful. You got to also take profits. There is your resistance. There is your support. Like I said, there would have been a buyer there, but I wasn't paying attention. There you go. So I probably am going to be right on that direction of the day. My entry was just early, right? That happens sometimes, guys, even to the best of us. Even to the best of us. This should have been the long entry. Should have been no doubt about it. You should have got long there. Stop there. Easy trade. Or if you're looking for shorts, you look for shorts there. Easy trade. Easy peasy. Can't get no easier. Brandon, Crypto Trades and Tech, says, for your information, Zero is my favorite project for the upcoming bull run. I've been accumulating it. Wow, that says something. You should pay attention to what Brandon says because he knows a lot about these crypto projects, their white papers, and all that stuff. He knows the important stuff about these things, right? I do not. I am just a price analyst. That is all I do. I trade price. I do not care about these projects, any of them. I don't care what they were built for, what they were designed for. My strategy works across all markets, so I trade it the same way across all markets, right? You got a fresh weekly breakdown, but like I said, see where this weekly closes. Could you start accumulating here? You could. I would wait, though, to make sure that it closes back above support. You're breaking down currently. So what that means is when you get a breakdown, a fresh breakdown like this, and leave a target, which this would clearly be the bearish target, This means that you could potentially see downside continuation next week, right? If you close under here. But if you get back above it, then I would look to be a buyer at that price. Because that means support held. But it's such a new project. Also, it really hasn't cemented in those really good levels yet. But it's been around since the bear market. Well, the end of the bear market. It might have been around longer than this. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's listed on Coinbase or Binance. But maybe it is, and I'm just, I don't know, doing something wrong. But it looks like it's trying to break down this week. But like I said, this could be the weekly low as well. Down there is daily support. You're above it. So like from the earlier question, that right there would be daily demand. And you can see how yesterday you traded right to it and stopped. Closed above it. But today you're getting downside continuation. So it depends. How does today close? Do you close back above that level? If you do, that's a good sign for at least a bounce. This is a daily time frame, so you can see that it's been trading in a range, a slight, pretty big range for a while. But if Brandon believes it's going to be more higher, then I guess you can start accumulating it now at $1. Just don't do it with leverage. If you're looking to invest in an asset, you do not do it with leverage, guys. If you're looking to trade the asset, then you can use leverage. But you're just looking to get in and get out, right? Then you use leverage. If you're looking to invest in the project, you do not use leverage. That way, price can drop significantly and you don't have to worry about losing a significant portion of the portfolio. Unless, you lose 50% of the asset's value, then that sucks, but it's had a 177% move to the upside from its ICO. So it's had a nice yearly move. Looks like it did the same thing Bitcoin did, but it found a high here. So a lot of sellers came in here, and that sell side continued on any pop. So near-term top could be in on this, but it could find a low, right? See how it closes on that weekly 21. If it closes under, then be prepared for more downside. If it closes above it, then yeah, you could probably say you might see trend continuation to the upside. Right now, it is in an uptrend currently. Sideways on the highs is how I'd read that. The hype pop was because they launched smart contracts. It's a DAG with proper decentralization capabilities. I was behind on the live stream 20 minutes, by the way. It's all good. Definitely be patient. We've been buying since 50 cents on MEXC. Gotcha. MEXC for longer price. I don't see it. Oh, right there it is. Oh, okay. Gotcha. So it's been around a while. Been around a while. I like to see that more than charts with just very little data like Pepe. Everybody's blowing up Pepe right now. I can't even trade this shit. I guess I can. There it is on spot Bitget. I mean, look at this is just 100%. First of all, this thing, 2 places beyond the decimal point is 1 penny. You guys know that, right? Right? Like where my cursor is, right here. This is a penny. So this thing is literally trading for what? Hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 million. So it's 1/10 millionth of a cent. What the fuck? Like, yeah, this thing's gonna be worth billions one day. Now you can make a lot of money on it because it's so damn cheap. You know what I'm saying? It's so cheap. You can take $10 and buy 1 million of these. Be careful. It's obviously in a euphoric, bullish phase. It is going to blow off. Whoever owns this asset, whoever built it, is going to wait and eventually probably do the same that most all new coins have done, which is rug pull. And 1,000% is a good area to do that. So be careful. You're up 995%. Not currently. Currently, you're up 700%. But, I mean, from the high, 995%. Jesus, guys, be careful trading these. That's a 30% move right there. So if you got, say, $1,000 worth of this asset at 50x leverage, one tick will blow your account. That's a 30% move. It don't look like a big move because I'm on log. It still doesn't look like a big move off log. But it's a big move. Be careful, guys, trading these meme tokens. Please. Please. These are the things that some people get rich. I ain't going to lie, but it's very few. Like, there might be 3 people that get rich off this, and then the other 100,000 to 1 million people, they end up losing everything. That's usually how this works. And in some cases, it's only one person that gets rich. The one person that built it. Because they own the majority of it. That's how it moons. Because the guy that built it owns most of the supply. Right? So any new buyers that come in causes price to skyrocket. And then he dumps his bag in your face. And then the asset just... So be careful. Obviously, someone on the ICO believes that this thing is absolutely worth nothing. That's why it's that many zeros away from a penny. It's not even worth 1 penny in the market's eyes. In the market's eyes. So, can't be worth that much in the long term. Be another Shiba Inu? Sure. It could happen. But wait for support. You don't even have a support yet. You don't even have a freaking support yet to buy it. I guess you could watch this area right here, 9761-ish 1 It's probably not going to be the exact number. 97626 on 2-hour closing basis is, as long as you don't get a 2-hour closure under that, then maybe you could take a small shot at it with a little bit of money and a little bit of leverage. Because it is just a gamble moon or doom token, right? That's all it is. It's speculation driven completely. So treat it as such. If it's just a gamble, just, place a small bet on it, see what happens. But wait for freaking support. Don't just buy the highs. Wait for support. You currently do not have a trading range on it because this is your daily open. So as of right now, you do not yet have a trading range. That's yesterday's support. Today, you currently do not have support yet. Lower close, pullback, open, down. Lower close, lower push, up. I mean, if I could short this, like if there was futures on it, and I could trade it with Tether or USDC, I would probably trade it just because of how much cheap it is and how little you would need to buy in order to see big moves. It doesn't look like it's topping yet, though, not to me. You'll know when it tops when you get that blow off, which usually happens with meme tokens. That's when the rug pull happens. But it does look like it is trading pretty good. FET. It's 5% of my crypto stack if that helps provide context. Nice. Nice. So he believes in it. It's getting a boost just like Bitcoin is currently. It's just this is a pullback is all. A lot of supply setting above 50 cents. You got resistance right there. That's why. Right? So that's typically where people's going to take profits. Professional traders, guys. That's where they're going to take profits. And if they're invested in it, they'll wait for the pullback and then they'll get long again. If it's worth investing in their opinion. You're up on the year. So trending up. You're bullish on the year. You're just now getting to the 21 exponential. You tested it last week. You're testing it again. So it looks like you just took out last week's low and you're getting a bounce. So this is the price that I would watch. 0.3176 for potential bullish entries. You did it today. You liquidated that swing low today and you're getting a bounce. But in order for this to mean anything, this 4-hour candle needs to close above that. right? If this 4-hour candle closes above 31.85, then I would wait for a pullback to support. Not here, but here. 0.3162. But this needs to close above. Needs to close above. And then I'd look for the next candle to pull back to there. That's where I'd set a buy limit. Set my stop loss down there. And then you look for the next expansion. First area to start taking profits on a 4-hour basis. It's more of a swing trade. 0.3249. That's going to be resistance. That is if it closes above 31.85. If it doesn't close above 31.85, the risk is still to the downside. The fact that you're getting a bounce is because you just liquidated all of those longs. Anybody that got long and had their stop trailed to there, you just smoked them. Boom. So it's normal to get a bounce when you do that. And like I said, also a lot of these things trade with Bitcoin, so Bitcoin's currently getting a bounce as well. Right? It's definitely right on direction, just wrong on the entry. Should have never taken that entry. They tagged me out. I bought Bitcoin at 27,947. 27947 right there. That's support. I put the stop loss in the profit. LOL. That's good. That means you can't lose money on the trade. Perfect. You can't lose money on the trade if your stop loss is setting above your entry. Right? That means if price comes back down and hits that, it's going to take you out of the trade for a small profit. Just make sure that you set the stop loss higher than your fees are going to cost. Otherwise, you can still lose money on the trade, even though you were right on direction and everything. Fees are everything on the crypto exchanges, guys. That's, I switched from KuCoin to Bitget because of the fee structure. But everything's different now. Bitget doesn't allow U.S. citizens anymore because of SEC is not being very fair to the crypto industry right now. And also, the more leverage you use, the higher those fees are going to be. For instance, if you use like 50x leverage, you need to get almost a 20% return just to break even on the trade. That's insane. If you market orders, if you use market order, if you market in and market out with 20x leverage or 50x leverage, you need like almost a 50% or 20% return to break even. It's insane. But with 50x leverage, you don't need much movement to be 20% in the gain, right? That's 50 times your account. You're taking a lot of money, a big position. Position sizing is what screws most new traders. They do way too big positions. You tagged me out 28,550. That is a profitable trade. You made it 550, almost $600 on the trade. Now, depending on, that is if you owned one Bitcoin. If you took the position with like 10 Bitcoins, then that's a $5,000 gain. Jordan just tweeted, good point. Bitcoin getting risk off bid right now with Swiss franc gold and JPY risk off trade again on. What? risk off. I was run DMC 550. I was talking about that a long time ago. That's why I got short USD JPY back when I did, looking for the risk off. But now, not so much risk off, right? You're pulling back. You've been trading sideways for a while now. Like, he's just now posting that. It started down here. That's when the risk off started. Same for JPY. This is almost all the way back to its original. Well, no, this is when I started talking about risk off, right? We were seeing the risk off come back in the yen and Swiss franc pairs. I don't know how long ago, but those are all like pulling back now. Man, I don't know if I could even find that tweet. Right here, March 24th. March 24th. Remember that risk off capital allocation we did not see in the 2022 bear market? Well, I'm starting to see it now, which at very least has me looking for a sector to target next for short positions, and tech has led this rally so far. Right? March 24th. And a risk off isn't a bid. That would be more of an ask. Selling. Risk on is a bid. He's just a little late is all, because some of these things, look at the yen. The yen looks like it could be topping out, right? This is the yearly open on the yen. So you were bullish on the year on the yen for a little bit. You dropped down, made fresh yearly lows, then you traded back up where people were selling the yen again. Where were they selling? At the yearly open. So this is not structured like risk off anymore. This is starting to structure itself more back on the risk on side than the risk off. Swiss franc, we took a trade last week on CAD Swissy, if you remember that, looking for bullish continuation in the Swiss franc. And we got that for 3-4 weeks. We're ahead of the game, man. We're ahead of the game. Bitcoin has lost its 21 on a daily. So if you do want to be bearish, technically, for near-term trades, you can look for downside entries. But you got to wait on resistance. We keep support where it is. It's a different chart, so I have to go find. So we're coming into the monthly supply right now. There's a monthly supply. Check. Right there. So if you were looking for shorts, now would probably be the time to look for them. But tomorrow is FOMC. So keep that in mind. VIX is up 17% today. That's why he tweeted that. The VIX is up 17% today. The VIX is on the lows, so a bounce is normal. But that's a pretty big freaking bounce, man. I ain't even gonna lie. 17%. So where's Bitcoin? Let's go. You start look for a short. You ain't gonna get it on an hourly. You would have to do this on an like a small time frame, and it's like your entry would be here, but this is such a risky trade. Stop above the high of day. Because generally you'll see a run above the high of day, but you did get that there, made a high of day, then you bounced back under the monthly supply, then you made a fresh high of day, stopping anybody out. So as long as you're not closing any 5-minute candles in this red area, you could look for short entries there, because this is the monthly supply zone. But you're only looking for a move back down to the open. You're not looking for a massive short for downside continuation. You would take profits here and move your stop to break even. And then if we do get risk off for the next several days and more massive downside pushes on Bitcoin, you're going to be positioned at resistance. That's how you do that. That's how we do it. So I'll let you be the judge if you want to short it or not. With tomorrow being FOMC, sure, if I get a retest of this area, I'll look for short entries. I'm not going to take a short down here because it could bounce right back up to the high of day from there. And then it could just fall, right? And then you're chasing price if you don't at least wait for it to come back to your entry, to where you're looking for to trade. But that's where I said at the very beginning of the video, that's where I would be looking for Bitcoin to test. Nonetheless, that's exactly where it went. That's exactly where she's rolling over. So trust me when I tell you, I got you. I got you. I bet you didn't tweet that out. I pretty much called it to perfection. I just took the entry the wrong. I just took the rookie mistake. Made a rookie mistake on the entry. That is it. So you're not wanting to see any hourly closes back above 28,475 if you think it's going to roll over and be risk off. In a risk off environment, Bitcoin will be sold off. And it does look like it's toppy. But since we are under the daily 21, you can look for short entries. Because that means the near term momentum is bearish. All right. For any of you that are not in the US and you do want to trade on a cheap broker, there is a link in the description for Bitget. If you want to sign up or just put a little money over there and try it out. I wouldn't put your life savings on exchange. Keep your life savings in cold storage always. But they offer a lot of leverage, so you don't need a lot of money in there. There is a link in the description. Please make sure you use code XTSC, that is X-Ray Tango Sierra Charlie. Let's see what it does here. You're probably not going to get much of a pullback. A lot of take profit orders setting there, as well as new fresh shorts. But you can't chase price. You're halfway to the target. Not halfway, but your risk to reward is much better if you take an entry up here and you look for a target there than it is if you get entry here, target there. You see what I'm saying? That's what happens when you chase price. You mess your whole risk to reward up, which you don't always get it. All right. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. We've been going for an hour and 35 minutes. Pretty much answered everybody's questions. This is monthly supplies, so this is an area that I was expecting price to check, and it checked it. So now you're seeing a slight pullback until tomorrow. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing trade sideways for the rest of the day because tomorrow is such a big news event. But you do have a lower high scenario. You don't have a lower low yet. That lower low would have to be down beyond 26,541 or 27. You get under that, you're going to have a lower low. And then that's going to start a downtrend. Where it goes from there could go as low as 25,000, as that's where that 21 exponential moving average is, I think, on the weekly, if I ain't mistaken. Yeah. Which, depending on where this closes, will determine where this is, but you could see a pullback as far as that and still remain bullish. But there is nothing wrong with trading that move. If you think that move is going to occur, hell yeah, I'd be looking for shorts because that's a long way down. It'd be a big trade. Entry here, take profits there. If it happens, right? We don't know that it's going to happen, but over time, monthly supply is a pretty good area to watch for entries, for downside. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll be live tomorrow during the FOMC news coverage. So that will be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll start the live stream probably 15 minutes earlier than that. So around 1:45, we'll get the minutes and then we'll stay live for the stream or for the conference, and we'll see what happens with price. Be careful today because tomorrow is when the real volatility is going to happen, right? We don't know if the market's going to take that as good news or bad news. So we just have to wait and see. Tomorrow and Friday is NFP, so another big volatile day. So we got a lot of volatility lined up for this week. Current weekly direction is down, right? As of right now, current weekly trend is lower. We'll see if we ultimately find support somewhere or not. But until then, make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.